Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Pleasure to be here as well.
Beautiful. So we're running straight into it.
Right into it. Of course, just to recap for all your listeners out there who would have been following these sessions, go out there, get the books that was recommended. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Business of the 21st Century, Richest Man in Babylon, Think and Grow Rich. Right. So obviously, we're trying to assist persons to get to their financial achievement, to actualize their financial objectives and operate from a standpoint of financial freedom this year. Now, there are many persons out there who would have gone ahead and got the books. There are many persons out there who would have gone ahead read the books. There are many persons out there who would have gone ahead and get to a seminar. There are many persons out there who would have gone ahead and obviously gotten audios and started immersing themselves in personal growth and development and finance. There are many persons out there who have been knocking the doors or knocking the pavements, as we call it, because they started applying themselves to the stuff that they learn. My job today is to highlight to every single listener who's on their way to build a fortress of financial freedom that on your journey, you're going to hit some ceilings, some money ceilings.
Right.
And my job is to tell you part of my experience and, of course, guide you along the way to unlock going past those money ceilings. So many persons out there on their way to financial freedom, after reading the book, after going to the seminar, after doing the right things, after pounding the pavement, what they realize and recognize is they hit a threshold. We call it a money threshold. And there's a way for you to identify if you're on a money threshold, because you would be doing much more things towards a particular goal. If your goal is $1 million, if your goal is 1,000, if your goal is 10,000, whatever the goal is, you would be doing more, you'll be applying more, you'll be much more knowledgeable. You could even be more certified, more qualified. But for some strange reason, you're not breaking past that money ceiling. And how would you know? Well, let me tell you this. Money is one of the easiest things to identify your money ceiling. How so? Money is a unit of account.
Yes.
So therefore, let's say you set a goal to get to $1 million, you set a goal to get to 100,000, or you set a goal to let's get to 10,000 or probably 1,000. After applying, learning, and going out into the field, what you're going to look for, you need to look at yourself. You need to look at your bank account and then ask yourself, what is the maximum amount of money I was able to create, earn, and receive on a consistent basis long after I started applying the knowledge that I learned.
Right, okay.
And what you're going to see is you're going to see an average showing up in your bank account. So as they say, men lie, women lie, but figures don't. Because again, there are many persons out there who would be doing extra. There are many persons who would be learning extra. But for some strange reason, the extra isn't showing up in the bank account. It's not showing up in the blockchain. Many persons, and I remember hitting that ceiling as well. May I tell you, friends, to get to the next level of passing by whatever that set ceiling is, you have to dive into something called the money blueprint, or understanding that there is a money blueprint or a money paradigm.
Right.
But before you go into it, you need to identify what is the money blueprint, you need to identify what is the money paradigm, and you need to identify it via the figures that you're seeing actualized in the bank account, the consistent maximum that's being produced in your bank account, that's being produced in your pocket. For everyone, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
So for the average person, let's say they may not be able to go past of creating, earning, and receiving an extra 500, although they're probably doing work to receive 20,000.
Say that again?
You may be doing more, learning more, applying more to earn. But you may just receive 500 this month, but the work you're doing is work that should produce 20,000.
Okay.
And you're sitting down, and most people actually start feeling depressed when they get to that block.
Yeah, demotivated.
Because demotivated because they know they're doing more.
Yeah.
They know they have grown from an intellectual standpoint, so they're applying the principles. They're making money. They're trying to multiply money. But remember, you have to collect that money after it's made and multiply. And the collection of money most times has everything to do with your money blueprint.
Okay.
So you may be putting out effort that should generate 20,000. You may be putting out effort that may generate 10,000. You may be putting out effort that should generate 100,000. But for some strange reason, it's not being reflected or actualized in your bank account. It's not being reflected or actualized in your pocket. It's because you have gotten to the pinnacle of your money blueprint. And there are many persons like that out there. I remember going through that blueprint as well, being stuck. And I was stuck there for a couple of years, actually. Yeah?
Right.
Or I would say about 2 years. Doing work that should generate 20,000. Doing work that should generate 50,000. Doing work that should generate 100,000. But for some strange reason, only receiving money that is in consistency to the most money that I have ever earned prior to the work, the extra work that being done. So let's dive into the money blueprint.
Stick one pin before you go to the blueprint. How did you get yourself out? How did you motivate yourself for those 2 years during that time?
Well, my why.
Okay.
My why. We spoke about the why
Yeah.
in the last segment.
Okay.
So even when things aren't working the way you expected to work, your why is what fuels consistency.
Nice.
Your why is what fuels persistency. Because you know you're doing your activity for a cause, a reason that is bigger than the result. If the reason you're trying to actualize financial freedom is only for financial freedom and not the things that financial freedom could afford you, you're going to stop in the way.
Okay.
So it's about having a burning desire. It's about having a big why that transcends the reward, that transcends the result of financial freedom. And may I tell you, many people get into business. Many people get into entrepreneurship. Many people get into personal development, not for the process, but for the promise.
Okay.
They look at the promise. They want the money, but they don't want to be processed on the way to the promise.
Yeah.
So when they're not seeing the actualization taking place, they give up. When they're not seeing things happening the way it should, they fall by the wayside. I am here to tell you, my friends, the process is going to process you to the promise. So yeah. So once you're on your way,
remind yourself of the why, guys.
you have to always
important.
look at your why. You should be looking at your why every single day.
Yeah,
The reason for doing what you're doing. So that when circumstances, when trials, when tribulations knock your door, it should be bigger. It should be a mere it should not be a mountain, it should be a molehill. So the wall should be the molehill and your why should be the mountain. Most times people have it the inverse way. They have the challenge looking like the mountain and their why looking at the molehill. And if your why is a molehill and your challenge is the mountain, obviously we know the results of that.
Bottom of that hill.
Correct is right. You're not gonna go.
Correct. So we're getting into the blueprint.
We're going into the money blueprint. So first thing every single person needs to understand and appreciate is that you actually have a money blueprint.
Right.
You need to appreciate and understand that. And it doesn't matter how skilled you get. It doesn't matter how qualified you are. It doesn't matter how intelligent you are. It doesn't matter how much information you have gathered. It doesn't matter how much things you do. Unless you start working on your money blueprint, the receiving of income to your bank account is always going to reflect that money blueprint. What's a money blueprint? Well, let's take a look at what is a blueprint, or slash the next word for it is paradigm. It's a collection of information, a collection of beliefs, a collection of philosophies, a collection of emotion. It's a collection of experiences that is all tied to your life with money. I'll say that again. Your blueprint slash your paradigm, or your money blueprint or your money paradigm, is a collection of data. Every single thought, every single experience, every single philosophy, every single emotion that was downloaded to you, through you, from the day you were born to this day. So it's a collection of data. And may I tell you, the collection of data, we receive that from birth. So most times the average person comes from poor families. And may I tell you as well, this is one of the major reasons you have so much people coming out, let's say lower class society, or quote unquote the ghettos, that have good intentions, goes to school, get good grades, want the best out of life, but they end up on the block. It's because they're doing the right things, but the blueprint is set to stay where they are. The blueprint is set to go right back from where they came, the environment.
So the messages that they received
Correct.
from coming forward.
Correct.
Right.
And even if you consciously tell yourself, I'm gonna make 50,000, even if you tell yourself I'm gonna consciously generate 100,000, the blueprint is gonna ensure that you don't bypass the ceiling from the collection of data that was downloaded into your subconscious mind from birth. It's a collection of data around what? Money. M-O-N-E-Y. It's the collection of data that was downloaded into you via experiences, via environment, via family members, via friends, in the form of beliefs, concepts, philosophies, experiences, and most important, emotions that are connected to and with money.
Because when you emote, you're sending a vibration.
Correct.
As well. Yeah.
So let me just give a scenario before we go deeper. And I heard this scenario from Miles Monroe, again, breaking down the paradigm, breaking down the blueprint, breaking down what we call the subconscious mind. And of course, he uses a scripture to break that down. He starts by saying, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Now, not as a man thinketh, because as a man thinketh refers to the conscious mind.
Right.
As a man thinketh in his heart. In other words, as a man thinketh in his subconscious mind, so is he. Right. So the big difference is you can think wealth thoughts consciously, do wealth things consciously, but not produce wealth, because it's not going to be in consistency with what's programmed below the conscious mind, which is the subconscious mind. Here's the example. He spoke about the experiment where they tied a dog to a stake. They tied a dog to a stake, and they literally rest a nice juicy steak in front of the dog. Nice slab of meat. What the dog does automatically is he run directly to the slab of meat in front of him, and of course the chain that the dog is tied to is tied just enough so that the dog could be yanked before he is able to touch that slab of meat. And the dog does that repeatedly, over and over and over, until the dog gets tired. The next day, what they do is they lengthen the chain, and of course they allow the dog to do it again and again and again. The dog consistently does that while they extend the chain, while moving the slab of meat further and further. Now, the experiment highlighted that when the dog repeated that activity to go towards the goal, to go towards the objective, which is the slab of meat, after getting tired, he starts to download a message in his subconscious mind that it's virtually impossible to access it. Now, after the dog have been through that process repeatedly, where his spirit is now broken, they started to release the length on the chain while not moving the slab of meat.
He didn't access it.
He didn't access it.
Wow.
The dog just looked at the meat. A matter of fact, it got to a point where they released the chain on the dog. And after releasing the chain on the dog just looked at the slab of meat. But not just that, here's a part of the experiment that, stood out to me. They took the piece of meat in front of the dog and they brought it closer to the dog back, to ensure that they keep the same distance with the program that was downloaded through activity. That meat represents money. The distance between you and your money is the distance that was created by all the programs, all the experiences, all the philosophies, all the ideologies that was downloaded into you by birth. And it doesn't matter how much you grow in knowledge. It doesn't matter how much you grow from a certificate standpoint. The program that allows you to grow in money comes from the heart. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, the subconscious mind. So we all have a money blueprint. We all have been programmed to receive a certain amount of money.
Right.
And even after you read the books, you now have to learn the processes to unlearn, unlearn, program, and reprogram, not the conscious mind, but the subconscious mind.
Where it becomes instinctive.
Correct is right. And this is why we always say there's 4 stages in learning. You have unconscious incompetence. That's where you start off where you don't know. After hearing someone speak, after listening to audio, after listening to a book, you realize, wait, there's a lot of stuff I didn't know on this topic. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know about money. So then you become consciously incompetent. You're now aware that you don't know, that you don't know, that you don't know, and you now have interest in knowing.
Right.
So you pick up the book, you go to the seminar, you go to the meetings, you do the courses, which most people do, because there are many persons who want to have success, so they do the work.
Yes.
But the stumbling block comes from the creation after reading the books, after doing the work. Because you have, as you rightfully said, you have to stick at it, being consistent while going through the processes of life, the unforeseen circumstances. And you have to be persistent, you have to be consistent until you get to a level where you are now unconsciously competent.
Right.
And unconsciously competent, being unconsciously competent is a state where you could tie your lacings without looking at your shoes.
It's instinctive now.
Correct. And the only way you could drive information to create a result from a human standpoint is driving information into the subconscious mind.
Okay.
Let me give you a little bit of how the subconscious mind works.
So this is how we're going to shatter that ceiling.
Of course, that's the only way to shatter that ceiling.
Okay.
There's no other way. So we need to understand how it works, how it was created. Again, let me give you some Jewish reference. They say, give me a child from birth until the age of 7, and I would make that man. The Bible has it a different way. Train up a child in the way he should grow, and when he gets old, he won't depart. Because again, they understand that as a man thinketh, but not just as a man thinketh, they understand as a man thinketh in his heart. Here's the thing. From birth to the age of 7, the subconscious mind is at its most fertile. So every experience, every single thought, every single idea, every single philosophy that the mind comes in contact with is stored in the subconscious mind from a baby, from birth to 7 years of age. It's what we call the foundation. A matter of fact, your conscious mind is nothing more than a reflection of the subconscious programs that was set in your foundation from birth to the age of 7.
Yeah.
That is where it starts. May I tell you, the money problems that you're having at the age of 70 is as a result of the programs that was downloaded before the age of 7. May I tell you, the money challenges that you're having right now at the age of 17 is as a result of the programs that was downloaded before your age of 7. May I tell you that the challenges you're having right now with money is as a result of every single collection of data that was downloaded into you before the age of 7. Now, how many people could actually have any conscious awareness of the experiences with the particular topic money? Now, at that young age, you may remember an experience with Granny. You may be able to remember an experience with Daddy. Remember something that was in a day to the park, a day to the playground.
Yeah.
But let's think, right? Let's consciously think. How many people could have or write down at least 5 thoughts that they could associate with the topic money that was downloaded into them before the age of 7. In other words, most of us aren't aware as to where our programs about money came, our foundational programs about money.
But we just know. We just think that we know and we action accordingly.
Correct is right.
Yeah.
So that is the foundation of setting up the blueprint and the paradigm specific to money, but for anything a matter of fact, because it's a principle
Yes.
of manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that we have one specifically to money. Specifically to money. Don't think that you could get to a next level of success when it comes to money without reprogramming your subconscious mind. This is why children at that age as well, they are so playful, because they tap into imagination. You see, the imagination runs wild.
Yeah.
A child at that age could conceptualize practically anything.
Yes.
This is the age where they believe in magic. This is the age where they believe in mysteries. It's because the brain is operating in a realm that is not yet real. So anything that's is being exposed to the brain is being received on a subconscious level. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, wow, then I'm screwed. I missed it.
Some will think that.
Some
way,
would
for
say,
sure.
yeah, because obviously we have grown adults that is having money problems.
Yes.
And here it is, we're highlighting to them that the money problems that they're having at the age of 27 is as a result of the programs downloaded into them before the age of 7. Luckily, right, God in his infinite wisdom has allowed other ways for humans to take control of their subconscious mind. So even if you missed it before the age of 7, there is still methods, mediums, and ways for anyone who is interested to reprogram their subconscious mind with the particular intent of making, managing, multiplying, and mastering money. Yeah. So at this stage between the age of birth to 7, the brain operates in a frequency called hypnosis. That's the frequency it operates in. As grown adults, we actually have access to that state at least minimum 2 times a day.
Really?
Yeah. So the exact state that is accessible to every human through the brain, be from birth to the age of 7, we also have access to that state at certain times of the day. Grown adults, even if you're 70. You want to guess before I tell you? I think you know it.
No, and I didn't even guess it.
First thing in the morning, last thing in the night.
Yeah.
Just before you doze off to sleep.
Yeah.
Just after you're about to really arise. It's the sleepy stage.
Is where you create.
Correct. The stage between sleep and wake. That's the hypnosis state. That is the state that allows you to download programs into your subconscious mind.
No, you know it's 11. It's after 11, so we have to cut it.
Definitely,
But
because
this would be a part. There has to be another part to this.
there must be another
because you have
part to
everyone
this.
at the edge of their seat right now. But yeah, so in summarizing today, Kishon, and I know we're looking forward to what you have to say next week as well.
Yes.
In summarizing today.
In summarizing today, it doesn't matter how much things you consciously do to bring forth a particular result about money, unless you understand that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And every single dollar that you earn and receive is connected to your blueprint that was built on the base between the ages of birth to 7, and then every single program that you created for yourself after about money. Remember, we all have a money blueprint. We all have a money paradigm. What is the money blueprint? What is the money paradigm? every single thought, every single experience, every single emotion, every single philosophy, every single ideology that was downloaded into your subconscious mind as a program that then extends creative power, where you get to create and recreate only the programs that was downloaded into your heart, into your subconscious mind. So if you want to change the results that you're seeing, you need to change the information that's going in, not to your conscious mind, to your subconscious mind. Yeah.
Kishon, share your handles.
It's KeeshonVane, Kishon Vane. You could find me on Instagram, you could find me on Facebook, and of course, we're gonna have some short clips of all these videos on TikTok.
Okay, beautiful. Kishon is back with us next week for Cash Cow as we bring you all the nuggets needed for your financial freedom. Keep it locked to the Big 96. We get